There are two distinct families of salmon. The family Oncorhynchus is found in the Pacific Ocean and accounts 5 different species, and the family Salmo is found in the Atlantic and is composed of only one species. They are both androgynous fish, meaning that they hatch in streams and rivers and travel out to the sea, where they spend around 4 years, finally returning to spawn at the same stream from whence they came. Salmon has earned its research reputation as a health-supportive food based largely on its unusual omega-3 fatty acid content. It's very common for 4 ounces of baked salmon to contain at least 2 grams of omega-3 fats, more than the average US adult gets from all food of several days. In general, these benefits involve improved control of the body's inflammatory process or better brain functions. Other unique health benefits can be found, such as small bioactive protein molecules that may provide special support for joint cartilage or insulin effectiveness. Many evidences were discovered that enable to say that salmon has been eaten for centuries. Concerning the Atlantic salmon, a sculpture was found into the ceiling of a cave in southern France that was dated back to the Paleolithic age. L'Abri du Poisson is the oldest known artistic representation of a salmon in the world. For Pacific salmon, some evidences were reported in indigenous art, and it is known that its fishing started 9,000 years ago by using deep nets like on the picture. In the past, salmon were believed to be the most intelligent of animals, for they brave predators, survived in ocean and rivers, and jumped effortlessly through the air in their journey back to their place of birth. When a person touched a salmon, they would gain this sacred knowledge. It took some time to introduce it as a staple food. However, salmon became a key in the development of culture and economies. New conservative methods made it possible to eat it throughout the entire year and bring a stable protein source, which allowed the increase in number of the population and improved the quality of life. Salmon has been in great abundance throughout the European countries. Dickens reported in 1888 that they were so numerous that 100 pounds of salmon could be bought for one old knife. However, this increase in fishing led rapidly to the decline of salmon population. This decline was first noticed in 1215 before Christ. Later on, the industrialization phase, the introduction of preservative and performance techniques, led to the continuous decline of salmon species. In the 1960s, many of the European Atlantic salmon collapsed, which led to an extinction of 84% of Atlantic salmon. To fight the extinction of salmon, different politics were conducted. It is believed that the first regulations have existed since at least 1030 before Christ. Every own country related to its fishing has its own regulation. Scotland, for example, passed the Salmon Act, which main goals were to regulate salmon fishery mostly by establishing closed season and protecting salmon route to the stream. Nevertheless, the politics are not sufficient enough, which explain that nowadays, trends on salmon consumption have changed from the past. Nowadays, salmon is the second most common type of seafood consumed in the US. Every single country has its own recipe with salmon. The demand to eat salmon is still increasing, even if its price increases as well. This high demand is believed to be growing in the coming years due to the new interest of Asians to import salmon. Norway and Chile dominate the market, presenting the 20 world's largest salmon producers. However, as it was said, most wild Atlantic salmon are now extinct. For that reason, most of the salmon that we are eating today is a product of salmon farms, accounting for more than 80% of the world's supply. This is not the case for Pacific salmons, where almost all fish that is sold at commercial level is wild-caught fish. But to what extent is farm salmon as healthy to eat as wild salmon? In the past, contaminants were found in farm salmon because the feed was based on fish protein and fish oil. Antibiotics were used in large amounts, and they were also found to be higher in calories and saturated fat. However, many actions had been taken to improve the health of farm salmon and get rid of those negative aspects. Nowadays, salmon receive feed that is about 70% plant-based, which has resulted in farm salmon having a lower contaminant level than wild salmon. Salmons are now getting vaccinated and for that reason do not require antibiotics. However, the nutritional value are still not better. Since the salmon feeds now contain less fish oil, the level of omega-3 is low. Farm fish also endanger genetic variation, which make them weaker against disease and environmental threats. Finally, the important number of farm salmon caused wild fish mortality. Indeed, the vast number of hatchery release fish at similar times, which causes a massive influx of population into the oceans, limiting the resources with such high stock density. So what could be the next step to fight for salmon survival? The first possibility would be to rethink the farms. One idea is to build offshore farms which would improve fish health by increasing water circulation and would as well decrease the impact of pollution and nutrient loading on coastal areas. The second possibility would be to integrate multi-trophic aquaculture. The objective of IMTA is to rear multiple species in aquaculture pens in order to mitigate some of the pollution issues caused by monoculture fish farms. Finally, the last idea would be simply to schedule the time of release of the salmon so that the wild fish would not be overwhelmed by farm fish. Overall, salmon is a product that is laden with history and that has been consumed without moderation. Salmon have many threats that have caused steep declines of the overall population. The problem of salmon are complex, and there have many attempts to continue to have enough salmon to satisfy the growing demands of the world populations. Despite these drawbacks, fish farming has the potential to provide a solution to the issue of global food security by increasing access to a nutritious source of protein. Aquaculture is also economically important to a growing number of coastal communities and estimated to provide around 40 million jobs globally.